Today we're going to make a cityscape at night. You're going to start by cutting out your template of some city buildings. Then you're going to be taking a white oil pastel and you are going to color all around the edge of the buildings. I'm kind of pushing a little bit hard to make sure that I get a good thick line of oil pastel all along the edge of each building. It doesn't need to be perfectly neat because this isn't actually going to be part of our art project. It is just a tool to help us get the building shapes onto our paper. After you have the line of oil pastel along all of your buildings, you're going to take a piece of black paper. You're going to start up at the top of this paper, and I'm going to just line up the two pieces together so that the buildings are at the top of the black. Now I'm going to take a paper towel, kind of fold it up into a smaller piece, hold my paper down with one hand firmly, and then with the other hand I'm going to push the white oil pastel off of the purple template and onto the black paper. You're going to have to use your muscles a little bit for this step. And you also have to be careful that you don't rip your template. So I'm just pushing that oil pastel off. And as you can see, it's leaving the outline of the city's black and sort of making it look like the city lights are lit up behind the building. So I'm just going to keep on going until my entire outline of buildings is visible. When I remove the template, you can see the outline of my city buildings. Now I'm going to repeat that step with the white pastel outlining this template, but this time I'm going to mix a little bit of other different colors in with the white. Now I'm going to take my black paper again, and this time I'm going to move my buildings down just a little bit so that I can layer my buildings up. Now, sort of a good tip for this step is I don't want my buildings to match up exactly. That might look kind of silly. So I'm going to kind of scooch it off to one side a little bit so that the shapes are a little bit different. And then I'm going to do the same step again, using my towel to push the color off onto the black paper. Now, of course, don't forget to scooch your paper over so that you can finish the other side that doesn't have buildings. So just kind of line that up right there. That looks good. Push that color off. Now I'm just going to repeat this step maybe 2 or 3 times until I have the top half of my paper filled up with layers of buildings. Sometimes what I like to do for my last layer of buildings is take the top half of my template paper, load it up with a lot of oil pastel, and then line it up with the bottom, and then I do the reverse. I find a clean spot on my towel so I'm not blending a whole bunch of crazy colors together, and then I hold this down and I pull the color down so that instead of filling in behind the buildings, it actually fills in the building shapes themselves. If your buildings aren't showing up very well on the black paper, it probably means that you need to add more oil pastel around the edge. And that's easy to do. You can just take this template off, add more pastel, and then line it back up right where you were making your buildings and just pull that color back onto the black paper. Now, to make our cityscape extra festive, we're going to add one more step. On each building, we are going to take an oil pastel, and I'm going to make tiny little dots along the edge of the building. It is up to you what color of dots you choose. If you don't want to use white, you could use a color as well. And then we're going to use our paper towel once more to kind of push some of this color in different directions to make it look like our little dots are shining. And as you probably guessed, these are supposed to look like Christmas lights, like holiday lights. So that building is going to have some white, and I think I'm going to do maybe some red on this one. But I always like to start with white dots first and then add the color on top, because I think that makes the lights look a lot brighter. So if you want to do colored lights, I think that is a great idea, but you might think about doing the white with it. Now, not only can you outline your buildings, but you can also, start with white, you can also put lights inside the buildings, and you can do lights around the window shapes that might be in your buildings. So maybe this is a window that has Christmas lights around it. And then same thing, to give the illusion that they're shining, we're just going to kind of blend those colors out. And I'm going to keep going until all of my buildings have Christmas lights. My cityscape is finished because I have filled the whole top half of my paper. Remember, the bottom half is still blank. So when the top half of your paper is full and you have lights on all of your buildings, then you are finished with this step. Remember, you can use any color that you want for your lights, but white is going to be the color that really makes the lights shine brightly.